And we're live, and I would say worldwide, not live and local. Just came out of the live stream with Carrie at Homestead How. Thank you so much, Carrie, for uh, running that uh, live stream. It was great. Of course, we are going head to head with Dr. Chafee and the football gang and a few other folks tonight. So, a lot of things for people to do this evening, but that's okay. It's a great big tent, and we are all just here to lift one another and to share experiences. Loved hearing about what's going on behind the scenes with the carnivore movie, the documentary. Lots to learn yet, lots to engage with there, but primarily today's been a wonderful Thursday, and I hope everybody's had a great Thursday in whatever you've been doing and wherever you've been doing it at. Of course, here in this live stream, we like to go ahead and hit up a few different topics, common topics to everybody. But we're going to just go ahead and wait for some folks to pile in here as everybody goes out after closing out with what Carrie's doing. Again, I did see that we have a lot of things going on in other areas, and I'm not mad at anybody if they go to another channel to watch something because we're all in this together, right? So it isn't a huge issue for people to go in other places. Right now, I know that Alia is in there with the crock pot season there, and Greg and a few folks doing a live. Of course, you have Dr. Chafee doing a live. And Keto Vagorian is in with the low carb football party. So lots of things to. And there it is. There she is. The limitless Lindy. Thank you so much. No, 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 no. Thank you so much. And I did agree with everything that Carrie was saying there. Hey, Laura, how you doing? Good to see you back again. I trust everybody's doing well this evening. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get the invite code here, just in case someone has time and they want to come on in. And there it is. That's the stream tag for tonight. And I like to keep my timer going because I don't want to go too long. Because when I go too long, then I'm up too late, and then I wake up uh, um, not fit as a fiddle, and we want to do that. Semi-retired Bob, how you doing? It's almost bedtime. You betcha. Good to see you. How are things going from your world there, Bob? How's the trailer build going? And there is the link. So Bob, if you want to jump in, or Lindy or Laura, or anybody wants to jump in, just grab the link. Come on in. I'll let you in. Hey, Twin Maples, how you doing? Here for Northern Neck. All right. Good to see you. Good to see everybody on here. But we're going to start the top of this whole thing off. If everybody wants to share, we're going to go ahead and share some non-scale victories. All right. I'm a big fan of measuring the wellness. How do you measure goodness? The goodness of things. Well, all too often we get caught up on the scale. Well, Woodster 72 and I, good old Brent, we chucked the scale. We're not getting on the scale for any purposes that we don't have to. Now, of course, if we go to a doctor's office, you're going to get on the scale, but you don't have to listen. You can plug your ears, right? So what do we have here? Let's get on it. First, we'll start here. Boom. Everyone smile. There you go, Bob. There we go. Yep, comes from Northern Neck. And Lindy is saying hubby is due home soon, maybe next week. Okay, gotcha. Hubby coming home. We don't want to get in the way of anything in the family. Never, ever. Trailer build going okay. Being able to work on yard work. That's been pretty warm in Omaha. I don't know what today brought you. I didn't check today's weather, but it's been pretty warm these past couple days in Omaha area. So I know that I'm working on the trailer. Now, have you got that hole plugged up? Because there was a hole in the floor you were working on because the previous owner, you don't want any creepy crawlies when you're down in Texas coming up in that hole. Because we know there's some creepy crawlies in the greater Texas area. Oh, for folks who follow football, Dick, yeah, I know. That was a big deal there, Maple. I saw that, and I saw that they're doing a lot of throwbacks and stuff. And I loved him in those Miller Lite commercials. Never liked the beer, but I love the commercials. Less filling, tastes great. Tomorrow is a high of 55. Yep. Overnight 36. Yep. I'm down here in northern Alabama, and I think tomorrow is only going to get up to like 65 or something like that, or Saturday, only 65. So, yep, something wicked comes this way. I think they call it fall, which comes in handy because I've just got my fireplace installed. Well, mostly installed on the pavilion, but there's still work to be done on the chimney. I've got to get a piece fabricated for the chimney, and then I've got to enclose the framing, and we're using tile. We're going to tile in the fireplace. Laura's saying, I'm watching a British treasure documentary. Imagine gardeners, women find out. Yeah, I know. And Laura, I've got a White's, a higher end metal detector because I was getting into that, but I've never had a good chance to use it. All right, good night. All right, bedtime. I got you. Hey, I'm older. I'm 61. But I understand, Bob. You got to do what you got to do. And I know you got a lot of walking. And I bet you it's a lot more comfortable to walk in the neighborhood now, except for maybe leaves are starting to get to be a problem. You take care, Bob. Thanks for dropping by. Again, hey, if you didn't know it, if you haven't been doing it, it would be great if people would smash that like button, all right? That kind of helps people know that something's going on over here in this corner of the neighborhood. But yeah, I tell you, Laura, I do like the idea of using the metal detector and looking for things. Not too far from where semi-retired Bob is living, there's a little town in Iowa that I would go to because a friend of mine's wife has some family land there. And on that family land was the original homestead for the Cutlers, a branch of the Mormon church. When they were leaving Nauvoo, they went down to southern Iowa, and the Cutlerites, and they went to this little tiny area, and the actual elder house was still up. Now it was rickety and condemned, but I took my metal detector out there looking for stuff. There's so much trash from over the years, but I really wanted to go do more looking around there just for odds and ends. Yep. Oh yeah, the tiles would be a pretty good heat sink. Now I'm in northern Alabama, so we're gonna get a couple of nights when it's really cold, like in the teens. Maybe we might get 1 hour with a single digit, but more often than not, it's going to be fairly temperate. So this fireplace is going to be used daytime, evening time, during the winter, and then on either side of winter, that time is probably only going to be evening time, nighttime, and it's going to put out some good amount of heat. And I've got I wanted to put it, how would I say it, parallel to one of the short walls in the pavilion, but someone talked me into turning it and putting it in the corner. So as I look at the long side of the pavilion, it's in my left-hand back corner, so I can see it from the house, and it's going to project heat along a larger area. So I think it's going to be better and great for viewing. I bought a cheap, yep, in Mall My Yugo. It's still in the box. Maybe soon I can do the beach. I should have brought it to the beach, but I didn't think about it because I was at the beach last weekend. Oh, well. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome back. Welcome to the after party, the gathering, the whatever. There are so many great people to see. I know Dr. Chafee's on right now. I know they're doing the Thursday night football. So, hey, I appreciate those of you who are here dropping in and spending some time. So, Lisa, how you been doing? Got a non-scale victory you want to throw out there? Any non-scale victory? Non-scale victory. Today I went for glamour shots. Remember that? Remember how you could kind of go to the mall? Normally it was in a mall. And you'd go to the store and they'd give you all those clothes and They do your hair and your makeup, and they make a make-believe picture of you, glamour shots. Well, I went to that today, but only I went to it for my liver, and I guess my spleen. But I don't have any answers back yet. I'm still waiting for the proofs to come in. But the docs wanted to take a look at my liver, and we established I still have a liver. I do. The condition of it, we don't know. I don't suspect it's horrible. I don't. We'll see. Had some funky little blood tests, but we're gonna wait. They'll think all over the place, and it's so variable. One day the weight count's high, the next one is low. This is up, this is down. Iron's down, blood's down, iron back up. It's all over the place. It's kind of like a weatherman trying to tell you what the weather's going to be. Right? All right, Laura. There are fireplace you can install to heat a large area. Yep. See, that's what I like, Laura. That's what I like. I wanted to watch a fire. I wanted some heat, but I wanted to watch a fire. Huh? So I got one that has a little bit more viewing area vertically, not horizontally. I mean, good size horizontally, but vertically, I wanted it to be able to, look at the top of the flames. I did kind of like a fire pit, but when you're at a fire pit, there's always the area getting all the smoke blown on you, and then the thing popping, and then I just didn't want to do that. So we went to the fireplace, and I'm making a little bit of a progress type thing with videos and pictures, and I'm commentating, and I'll zipper it all into a video, and I'll show it one time on my channel. My hope is that I'll be able to take that environment and make it set up well that I can actually do this out there. Yeah, that way, it's the back of the house. That's the window in the front of the house. Oh, that's the back of the house. And my pavilion is a piece down the backyard, So we're going to have to do some walkway work. Me and the wife are trying to figure out exactly how we want to attack that effort. We have different ideas. I got a bid for someone to put a sidewalk in, and nope, not unless I win the lottery. No, because they want lots of do-re-mi to put a 100-foot sidewalk in. So I'm thinking big pavers, and then put a little space in between them, and then we can just mow over them. I don't know. Yep, a fireside chat. That's what I'm thinking about doing. Just have a little crackling of the logs, maybe, and the chirping and the noise of nature, because we have a little bit of an expanse and some farmland behind us. The stars would be out, the fire would be going, and let's do a fireside type chat here, for the late night, and discuss things going on. But other than that, today has been a fruitful day. How about for you? Did you get a lot done today? Have you all been engaged in doing things? Like I know a lot of people are still working, either working at the home with the kids, or I know a number of people who come to the channel and who are in this way of living are taking care of others, so there's a lot going on for people. So not terribly sure how your day has been going. It's Thursday, so a lot of times this is the last one. I remember when I worked for the government, Thursdays was the last day of the week you could get anything done, because a lot of people, we had a compressed work week. So you would work 1 more hour for 9 days out of a pay period, and you would get a day off. So every other weekend would be a 3-day holiday. Well, you couldn't have everybody leaving on the same day. So what they did is they made each section stagger who was off, and that staggering would also involve taking off either a Monday or a Friday. And that way they had coverage, but you also had the opportunity to have a 3-day weekend every other week. That's pretty sweet. Go over, Nana. How are you? How are you? Welcome. First time. Thank you very much. Well, welcome to the channel. Tonight we're running up against Dr. Chafee. That's a tough channel to run against on Thursday night. But the way I look at it is I'm not running against anybody, right? We're just here sharing. The idea of the channel is I just threw the link out. So sometimes people will grab that link and they will get their stuff ready. And if you have a camera and a mic, you can paste that into your web browser. And once you're ready to go, I go ahead and bring you in, and then you can join me in the live stream. And it's an opportunity for people to speak and not have to do the typing thing the whole time. Yep, I did see you in Carrie's member only live stream a few minutes ago, and I did like your commentary. Now here in this live stream, you can see it over my shoulder, and I'm gonna try to get it right, but it's hard because it's on a camera. There's my cross. We are unabashedly, openly faithful believers here, and that will creep into conversations, and we're okay with it. And we have people who may come in here who are not, and that's okay, because we're just here to love on everybody, and we're here to support everybody. So again, welcome. I try to do this pretty good at doing this each night. 8:30 to 9 o'clock is when I start, and I'll go for about 2 hours, and we'll get anywhere from 9 to 30 people. Sometimes there'll be 4 people on the screen, and sometimes it's just me. So you get a chance to share things and learn about people here. It's a little slower pace. That way you can get to know people better, if in case you haven't had the chance. Like we're seeing great things. That's right. Oh, we're definitely believers. Have you seen the faux cement cobblestone path? I have. And I thought about that, but as I'm getting older, right, the last thing I want is an uneven surface. I have one of the reasons. If you don't mind, I'm gonna go down a little bit of a path, a little bit of a story. Okay, so what precipitated the idea of? Oh, okay, my camera just blinked. Ooh, that was scary. What precipitated the whole idea was this whole COVID thing, right? Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. So, Nana, you're in Newton, Iowa. Oh, I know Newton. I lived in just south of Omaha for 15 years, Omaha, Nebraska. But I am in North Alabama, just north of Huntsville, south of the Tennessee border. That's where I am. Yeah, I remember Newton. I think I've driven through it and definitely seen the sign for it many times. Virginia Beach, Valor, that's right. Thank you for the update. I appreciate that. So during the whole COVID thing, and at our church, they didn't let us go to church. So the very first things we did some things out in the parking lot, and we did some online things. And one of the things our church had started a few years before was small groups, because as a church grows, it's harder and harder for the pastoral staff to really reach into people's lives, and really know them and be there for them in all things. My pastor often says it's practically a state secret to find out what's going on in people's lives. So small groups are extraordinarily important. And so we go to our small groups. Well, our small group couldn't meet in homes. They normally met in our home at this point in time. And then sometimes we go to other homes. Well, since we couldn't meet in home, we found out we could meet out in the local park under a pavilion. And that was good until it got to be winter time. But we kept at it. And it made me think, why don't I have a pavilion out back? Now, it's not as big as one of those. It's a 18 by 20. It's a good sized one for my wife and I, for sure. And it might be us and some children and their children. So maybe 7 people, 8 people max can fit in there very comfortably. But if I want to try and get 15 in there, right? Anyhow, the idea of the pavilion came up. So we had the pad poured one year. The next year we put up the roof. And this year is the fireplace. And we have the fireplace. It's in place. My buddy down the street, who's a wonderful man who has great skills. He was a professional framer and carpenter before he went into the military. Well, he went ahead and he's been helping me. So we've got the chimney up now. We've got the fireplaces put together. Got a little maneuvering to do yet. And the next thing, all the framing around it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tile it. Got to put the backer board on, cement board. And then we're putting on tile, and I'm doing that because the tile will be easy to clean since we are outside, and down here in the humidity, you can get that. And I'm sure, Laura, in Virginia Beach too. You know how on the north side of houses you can get that mildew grows on there and all sorts of stuff. And I didn't want to do stacked stone in the walls or in the chimney face because I don't want critters and bugs building nests. I want to clean. I want to keep it clean. So that's great. So that's the whole idea. Well, the issue is it's about 100 feet from the back of the house because the missus and I both suffer from asthma. Smoke's no bueno, right? So we got it far enough away from the house. It won't bother us. We can see it. It'll be fun. And now we're just going to make a pathway to it. But I'm 61 now, and I plan to stay in this house till about 75. And in my small group, which is why I brought that up, we have some seniors already there who are in their 70s. So the last thing I want is a uneven surface for them. So a long way to get to the story about the path. Sorry. I-80 east at 1 hour east of Des Moines. That's right. I remember because I drove through. My in-laws live in Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. So we take that I-80 all the way over up to Davenport, take the Mitsubishi Expressway around south, then get in, hit 57, and drop down into Champaign-Urbana. I believe it's 57. 57? Sounds about right, yeah. And we go down to Champaign-Urbana. So 15 years. Multiple times throughout the year. It was wonderful. But we're not going back there too much anymore because my mother-in-law and father-in-law have sadly passed on. I mean, I know where they are, but we don't really have a need to go there. But I do have a brother-in-law and a sister-in-law who still live there, and we do go back for events and things like that, but not going back too much. And I have a son who lives in Omaha, and so we do get back there about once a year or so. And so, yeah, that's what we have going on. So, Nana, one of the things we like to do here is we like to ask, what are some of your most recent non-scale victories? Or I haven't had a chance to watch your story unfold. I don't know if you have a channel, and I don't know a lot. So feel free to type in some stuff and let us know where you're at on the journey, what prompted you into the journey, and some of your. I like to look at non-scale victories because the scale won't always tell us something every day. And many days we just want to know a little bit more about what we're doing. We need those little victories, right? And those little victories, they add up. And as such, I think they keep us going. Thoughts, comments, queries, anybody? I believe Lindy's husband must have come home and she had to drop off. I get that. And I know we had semi-retired Bob here, and we got Laura in here along with you, Nana. And there was so much going on tonight in the Twitterverse. Excuse me, Twitterverse. In YouTube for carnivores. I don't know how this is going to go. So, by all means, Nana, share with us a little bit about yourself and your journey to date. And if that's not a topic, talk to me about some of the things that you're doing with Carrie. Laura, do you have a teenage youth group? Maybe you can recruit them and I don't think to do your path. Now we do have a teenage group. We have a very, very vibrant youth group at our church. I think there's roughly 100 people in there. All right, let's bring on Carnivore Nana. Hey, people.
Hello.
In there. All right, let's bring on Carnivore Nana. All right, now you're gonna have to turn down a little bit. You got it? Okay.
My first time. I've never done this before.
Well, you're doing amazing.
Okay, I'm on my phone.
Okay, that works just fine.
Okay.
I don't know if you can turn your phone landscape. Will it still work? Let's see what happens. There you go.
Upside down?
No, don't leave it like it was. There you go. Okay, that works.
How's that?
Perfect.
There we go.
So just so you know, anytime, like if you want to record a YouTube video, if you turn it landscape, it will fill the whole screen.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So there you are.
Perfect. Hopefully I look okay.
Oh, you're fine. Look at this. Look at this.
Right, I hear you. I have so my carnivore journey is, gosh, I don't even know where I really started. I guess kind of a friend from Canada. He and I were talking one day and food, doing keto. I started with keto with Dr. Berg because I was really just wanting to lose some weight. And I did really well, pretty well with it. It was really a struggle though, because I hate vegetables. I hate vegetables. I've always hated vegetables. I can't stand vegetables. I don't really have hardly any teeth left. And it's probably because I'm diabetic, or I was diabetic, probably for years. And I knew that I had tried everything, and this was something I hadn't tried before, was keto. But it was really hard for me to eat the amount of vegetables that he was always saying, oh, eat 1 million cups of vegetables. And I'm like, yeah, I don't even want to eat one vegetable, let alone all of that. But I did it. I did 90 days.
Okay.
On keto, and that was 3 years ago, maybe 2019, I think.
Okay.
I did well. I lost about 35 pounds. I was feeling good, but I was cold all the time. I still wasn't really happy because I don't like vegetables.
I think you've established the fact that you do not like vegetables.
I don't like vegetables. So I ended up moving away to be with my family here in Iowa. And right after that, the snow started to fall. I had a fall, injured my knee. I basically, keto went out the door, and I put the weight back on. You know how that goes.
Yep.
It wasn't too long after moving out from my sons and moving in with my apartment and just researching, and I found carnivore. But my friend had mentioned it like a year before when I was doing the whole keto thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. You just eat meat? Like, who does that? Until I started researching it. And then I realized I don't have to eat vegetables. And that was I found Dr. Barry. That's what happened. I found Dr.
Sure.
Barry, and when he said I didn't have to eat vegetables, I was like, I'm good. Now I had already reduced my intake of all the junk.
Right.
You know, the box stuff, the processed. I've never done well with that anyway. I have never really been a fast food eater. That's been out of my life for many, many years.
That's good.
Um, so it was mainly just going from keto to carnivore. But I do have a couple of struggles. One is ice cream. Huge
Yeah,
struggle.
I saw that comment.
Huge problem. It is one of my things that I like.
Well, it's
And
comfort food. I'm sure back in your childhood there were some very positive things associated with it.
hey, listen, it tastes good. Let's just be real.
Hey, look, I owned an ice cream store in Omaha, just
Oh
south
yeah,
of you. My wife and I, when I retired from the military, we opened up a family mom and pop hard ice cream, malts, floats, the whole 9 yards of hot dogs, and chili dogs, and I ate myself into my condition eating the mistakes, right?
right.
So,
Oh yes.
oh yeah, I definitely.
Cleaning up the children's plate. I understand. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
had to turn off. I turned my skillet on. I was going to fry up some beef.
Well, so you were saying you found the carnivore, you found the patron saint, Dr. Barry, and
Right.
you were already doing keto. So that's I think that is a wonderful bridge for
Yeah.
alleviating many of the maladies associated with going to a what is admittedly a radical way of eating. You know, so you saved yourself some heartache that way for sure.
Yes.
Not completely, but for sure. So how long have you been doing it again?
So I was 120 days
Oh,
and I was 120 days and I fell off the wagon.
eh,
With ice cream.
of
Took
course.
me, yeah. And I also changed jobs. I had been working from home remotely
Hmm.
as a call center.
Hmm.
I didn't have any coffee in my house. I had given it up. That was no big deal. And then I went back to the office. I changed jobs and it was not remote. And I had to start working from the office and they have free coffee. And let me tell you, the free coffee with all the doodads in it,
Yep.
huge weakness for me because I had given it up. So those were my two things. And I still am struggling with those. And um, I mean, one of the things that I don't see people talking about is I like the taste of things,
Sure.
right? So I mean that's the thing that's got me hooked is that I like how it tastes, and until I can figure out how to alleviate the need for that, because honestly, you have to replace a negative with a positive. This is kind of how I've done it. Like instead of the coffee, when I first did the whole keto thing, I gave up my coffee and I was just drinking just black tea at work. I don't have sugar in my tea. And then I eventually just went to water. So it was a weaning kind of thing. I eventually gave up my lunch and I started walking. So I was giving up one thing and putting a positive thing in place of it. So I don't know how to do that with the ice cream.
Well, I know that there's a recipe running out there about a certain type of ice cream, like a Dr. Berry ice cream or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that okay, here Laura's saying get some keto chow shake mixes. You can make ice cream out of them. They have like 20 flavors.
Okay.
And
But
everybody has
part
a
of my
different.
but I think part of my problem is the fact that I can't eat just one. See,
Right.
I can't moderate. And I hear people say that. I was like, that's me. I cannot moderate. I
Well,
have to abstain for it to work.
and I think if we were fair about it, right? That's probably one of the biggest hurdles is to identify how we are. Like sometimes in the community, I hear it referred to as, "Are you a person that takes a band-aid off slowly, or do you rip it off?"
Yeah.
And you're a ripper. You're a ripper, aren't you?
Yeah.
All
Because I don't
in,
like the
all out.
pain.
Well,
Right.
well, different people, they do have some science to say different people um, respond or feel pain differently, the way it works in your brain. And then
Okay.
we know in our brain we have dopamine centers. And you saw Carrie reading the comment from the Sugar Blues book written back in the 70s, right? I
Yeah, I
mean,
did see that. I had just joined at that point.
right.
Hmm.
So dopamine and the brain and sugar. So what I understand that we need to do is we need to utilize some tools we have. So in your brain is a thing that's called the RAS, RAS. It's the reticular activating system. It sits at the base of your brain stem here, about the size of your thumb, and it is the firewall for your brain. See, there's so much data coming into your brain all the time from all your senses that if you actually saw it and recognized it all, it would drive you insane.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so remember when you go out to buy a new car or something, and when you finally get your car after looking and searching for, it, all of a sudden you see like every other car on the road is your car. Well,
Yeah.
but those cars were always there, but you're recognizing them now because you made it important in your brain, in your firewall.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to take another item, like you said, and say this is good enough for me. Right? Associate it positively, and say, and this one, I know all the negative things for it. So then you put a negative, and eventually your brain learns it, and you just stop, like you did with coffee. I don't need it. You get over the physical addiction to the caffeine,
Right.
and then you have to get over the oral fixation and the hand to mouth thing, and you're better. Or like with cigarettes. So
Right.
it should be the same thing with the ice cream. And I think for a lot of people who enjoy success in this space, it's knowing their why. Like for me, my why was my stinking belt buckle. I mean, I have beautiful grandchildren. I have wonderful children. I have an amazing wife. You would think that that would be enough motivation for me to do what I believe to be healthy,
Hmm.
but it wasn't getting it done. But that belt buckle and how it hurt the overlapping fat
Oh.
really bothered me. And so that's my why. So when you have your why right in front of you, then making that decision, and also, many times we go to comfort foods when we're stressed. I am a stress eater.
I can be.
So though, I think when we know what in the military, we like to say, know the state of play, know your battlefield.
Yeah.
And if you know ice cream's your battlefield, maybe you can put, if you have it in your house, maybe you can put a thing on it, or you can't have it in the house. But whatever it is, if you sit there and say, let me pull out my remember, right? And say, I love the ice cream. It tastes great, but ice cream doesn't taste as good as good health tastes.
Yes. Nothing tastes as good as healthy feels.
Yeah, there
I
you
don't
go.
know who I don't know who said it, but I got it on my refrigerator. Now you were talking about our why,
Right?
and I watch Carnivore Kip.
Yeah, me too.
Love him. I love his why with his little girl. And I
Hmm.
was like, I need a why. I was like, I don't really have a why. I mean, other than me, right? But sometimes we have to
That's
go
not
deeper
knowing
than
enough,
that. I know. Isn't that terrible that it's not good enough, right?
right?
So about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, was doing a diabetes study.
Uh huh.
They called me to ask me if I was because I was diabetic. And I was like, oh yeah. So it was like 9 month study, and I had to start giving myself injections.
Oh,
I gave myself 2 injections once a week. I don't know if I was getting a placebo or a real drug because it was a medical study.
right.
Well, basically, without using profanity, I was like, I'm not doing this the rest of my life. Right? That was my why.
It's a
And
great
I
one.
remember that was what triggered me to go back and talk to my friend in Canada. I was like, hey, who was that guy you were telling me about that diet, blah, blah, blah. And I think that was the trigger. So my why is my diabetes. I don't want to take injections. I take no medications for anything. I am 58. I'll be 59 in December. So the non stuff that you said, whatever you
Non-scale
were saying,
victories. Yep.
right. I basically didn't have to give up any medications. I don't fit the normal thing that I'm seeing people like this disappeared, that went away. I'm not taking no medicines no more.
Sure.
No depression. I didn't really have any of that to give up.
Right.
I lost about 35 pounds doing carnivore again. And then I just sort of have stalled out because of the ice cream and the coffee.
Okay. Well.
So that's where I'm at.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad you shared. I think sometimes too, when we talk of non-scale victories, like I was sharing last week or 2 weeks ago, my wife and I were doing something out in the backyard, and we were rearranging something, taking down something, and there's cables around my feet, and I was able to just do a little stutter step tap dance to get out from being tripped by them. Right.
Yes.
Well, I have not been light on my feet for a long time or dexterous. That's what I go, my dexterity, my flexibility, working on my pavilion on the fireplace. I find myself for a long time, for years now, I've been very, very focused to make sure I get one foot down on a step, next foot down on the same step. I found myself the other day going every other step, just up and down the ladder, right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so so non-scale victories can take so many. Or I have a belt I've been wearing for years. It's my all-range belt. My me I was, the me I can be, and the me I'd like to be, and I've got it down to the last hole on the belt. Right, that's a
Nice.
non-scale victory. So it's not always in a medical realm or whatever. But for me, I count a non-scale victory can be anything from, hey, I went to the beach this last weekend. We went to a zoo with the crew, and at the zoo in the hot sun down there in South Alabama, um, I didn't get burned.
Yeah.
So all sorts of things fall in that victory category. And
Yeah.
so I'm six. I just turned 61, and being
Right.
able to keep up with kids and do things, those are huge victories that I think we overlook. Because as you might know, Nana, and I know the people in the comments know, um, just being just being freed up to do things you hadn't been able to do physically.
Yeah.
Those are. I'm talking like Limitless Lindy, who was on earlier, right? I mean, she was up around 700 plus pounds before. And she's talking about just being able to get in her car and drive to get behind the steering wheel. Todd
Right.
talks about that. I just sat in my car the other day after doing all this driving down south and back, and I looked at the distance, and that door right there, it's like a barn door. And what I did, I made a great big pair of calipers out of it. I actually turned my back to it and closed the door to it, touched my belly. Then I made a mark up on the track, and I can already start seeing a gap just because I'm not so bloated. I don't think I've lost a lot of fat. I have, but I'm just not so bloated from all the standard American diet stuff I was doing in my condition. Now, once I get to a healthy condition, it may be I can add back some of it, not the seed oils and not the stupid stuff. But I like some vegetables. I actually like them, right? I love I love broccoli. I love Brussels sprouts. I'm good with spinach and collard greens. Of course, mashed potatoes. Those are things I could eat day in and day out, but not in my current metabolic condition. Because they say you have a compromised metabolic system. If your belly's bigger than your britches,
That's right.
then you probably have metabolic syndrome. And just today, I went for glamour pictures of my liver. We don't have the answers back. I've been carrying on some fatty liver for the past few years, right?
Okay.
So the idea being is I'm using a whole spectrum of measurements outside of the scale to say, hey, let's keep doing this.
Right. Absolutely. I'm pretty
Right.
physical. I'm pretty
Right?
physical. I the apartment building that I live in, I actually clean it, a couple times a month.
Okay.
I was actually cleaning the apartment, so at my age, I'm doing a lot more physically than probably a lot of people. The
Hmm.
last couple of weeks, I've been hand picking, if you will, black walnuts because that's what we have right now that's in season.
Hmm.
Even though I don't eat them, I crack them. I'm gonna crack them for my mother, who's 83. Other than that, I'm obsessed, and I don't know why, because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna ever crack all these, but I have a garage full of black walnuts to process, and I don't even eat them.
Huh.
So there's that addiction where I get something, and then it's like I have to do it like full blown. And I wish that I was able to be successful in it carnivore.
Well, I mean, you know, um, the idea of being OCD on something, I guess an obsessive compulsive thing. I mean,
Right.
it's a very real thing. And now your total journey between keto and carnivore consistently has been about how long?
So I started keto in like June 1 of 2019, and then I was pretty successful, but I was maintained until I moved and I hurt my knee, gained the weight back because I was doing standard American diet kind of,
Right.
and went carnivore basically at the end of January of this year.
Okay, so
And
you've
I
been in a ketogenic state for an extended period of time.
Yes, for the most part. I didn't really do the standard American diet. I mean, once in a while, I might eat a Burger King or I'm like, it's a rarity, but it's not like but I don't hang there because I know it doesn't I don't feel good when I eat that kind of stuff. So it's like I ate it because I was extremely hungry, kind of a thing, and I was out and about. That's kind of that I couldn't eat at home, right? So it's one of those things. Um, so yeah, pretty much.
Well, I was just thinking about it from the perspective of um, if you've gotten your body adapted, what we guess we'd say fat adapted and
Right.
adapted to those things. Have you considered adding some type of organized resistance training into your daily routine?
I had till about a couple of weeks ago, I have some arm weights. Well, bells.
Right.
They're like 8 pounders or something.
Uh
So
huh.
I've been working with that for my upper body with my arms and stuff because I don't have very good upper body strength. And so
Sure.
I started you doing that. I went on vacation, went out of state, and now I'm doing the walnut thing, and so I just sort of threw me off. But it's not like I'm not getting any exercise because I'm carrying these bags. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm just doing some exercise while I'm out and about in the sun, kind of a
Sure.
thing. So yeah. I also know that intermittent fasting is also good, and I try to do that when I can.
Well, yeah, and that's great, but I think sometimes people fall into it because if you're just not hungry, you're not going to be
Yeah,
eating. So you push breakfast off a little bit,
right.
and then you don't eat later. So then all of a sudden you've got a 18-hour window almost
Yep.
there.
Right.
The only thing I would think of, maybe in adding to your routine, our leg muscles are some of our largest muscles
Mhm.
in our body, and doing some sit down in a chair and then stand back up again. Like,
Yeah.
start off with doing like 2 or 3 of those 2 or 3 times a day. Purpose like that, totally sitting down and then without using your hands to stand up and then sit back
Yeah.
down again. Those are
Yeah.
wonderful for your body, in addition to all the walking, carrying, and lugging. And the reason I'm thinking of it, maybe that will trigger more of a demand for energy on your body, and your body will metabolize more, and that will help you. But also, I've heard people who do that or drink water, right? If they're starting to get a craving, get a great big cup of water, drink it, do a little exercise, and then maybe even a meditation real quick. Like throw a couple pieces of your favorite scripture on a 3x5 card and pull it out and say, because you have your why. Your why is you don't want to be shit. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody. And by the way, we have some people jumping in now. So hello, everybody. Christine, I think the thing is, I have a family member. He's now since passed on, and I have another friend, type 2 diabetes, pretty bad. And what they ended up doing is I think they got the cart and the horse backwards, and they would eat a big meal of improper, what I call improper food, but a big meal that was detrimental to their blood glucose. Okay.
Right.
And then they'd pull up their shirt, pull out a good chunk of waste, and pull out their pen and go, I think I need 12 units. Boom.
Yeah.
Right at the dinner table in the restaurant. And I said, that's like almost like you say it's a medical need, so it's not bad. I'm like, that's like picking your nose. I mean, maybe if you didn't eat the whole pizza, what I
Hmm.
mean? You wouldn't have to do that in public and go bam, right? But I do know that there's an axis between the leptin and the ghrelin that's off, and that addictive behavior. So I'm not trying to critique the person, but the
Right.
behavior seems to say this is counterproductive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is why they push it.
Well, I think there are to a certain degree, for a certain amount of time, we can only blame other people for a while.
Of
Some of
course.
it is ours. But then there's a time when you're so far down that primrose path that I do believe that addictions and dysfunction in the chemistry of the body make you less, how do I say this, less culpable to the ongoing behavior. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. And I think also people who get to the point like like Bill from Alaska. For those
Right.
of you who know Bill from Alaska, he had gotten to the point where he's like, we will eat ourselves to death because that's our drug.
Right.
And we do that for lots of different reasons, just like some people might drink or use drugs or whatever, you know, fill in the blank. Um, until we realize how detrimental that is and how much, like we said before, healthy has to be better. Health has to taste better than the junk that we're putting in our body. It has to feel better. And like Carrie has said, he's like, this is what a human is supposed to feel like, where you're not in pain, you're not this, you're not that, you don't have all these putting all these drugs in our body. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And if we've been like this forever, since we've been children, we don't even know that we
Right.
can feel good.
Right, right. So Lisa asked this question: do you have a channel of your own yet?
I do not yet.
And
Thinking about
FYI,
it
this is Nana's first ever going live. So
ever.
thank you for honoring all of us and being courageous like this and coming on. So, but yeah, this is what this channel is all about. I throw out the link. You want to come in, and we do it. And I'm so glad you took this opportunity. A lot of people in and out. Things are doing things. People doing things. But yeah, so good.
Actually, I do have a channel.
Oh,
I had a channel from way back. I think it was before YouTube, I think was then bought by Google. I don't know if that's correct, but
I think it is.
yeah, I lost access to my account because I couldn't access it. So my old channel is Gospel Girl 1964, and I have some videos on there that are just music videos, but will be creating a new channel if I decide to do the carnivore thing.
Okay, well, we will look forward to it, and when you do, feel free. And again, in this channel now, not in every channel,
Hmm.
but in this channel at this time, I am all about people evangelizing their channel. It doesn't offend me at all if you sit there and you promote your channel by saying something like, when I was in Carrie's at the last one, I took a little bit of poetic license to say, hey, I'll be doing the after party, right?
Oh, I
But
love it.
this is what I kind of do Monday through Thursday nights. I
Okay.
get about 2 hours into this. I had gone on for about 4 hours before, but that gets a little bit long in the tooth. But and this is going to be what I do. I don't do a lot of videos. I do some shorts. I'll do some things here and there, but this is where I like. This is the space I like to be in, engaging with people in a dynamic, real time manner rather than a not cold, but a highly edited video. They're good, they have their place, but it's just not me. I get that, Dawn. I'm glad you're getting around better. That's absolutely awesome, and I can't wait till you get to that point where you're able to hike in the mountains again. All right. So now you're there in Newton, Iowa. What's going on big in your life in the Newton area? I know you got a great pork industry in Iowa, but we kind of steer away from pork a lot, and other than bacon. How about you?
Well, I'm not from here. I'm from Missouri, and I've only lived here 3 years.
Well,
So
okay.
other than the corn, and I know they have pigs here, but I pretty much do beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. I'm heavy into eggs, as a matter of fact. I just had a lady from work. She's got eggs and from her chickens, and I just brought home 10 dozen, $20, $2 a piece. Amazing. So I found a nice new source for eggs. Because I don't really like seafood. So I do a lot of the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. I do eat chicken. Not crazy about fish. I do like sardines from time to time. I heard somebody say do the sardine challenge. I don't know what that is. I like sardines, so.
Well, I think the sardine challenge is more about like 3 days. Like I think Dr. Boz has a big thing on sardines, like a
Oh,
sardine fast. Like basically, you're gonna eat sardines consistently for a few days.
oh.
I'm
I
not
think that.
positive. If someone else
Okay.
knows better, feel free to chime in.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I heard somebody say something about sardines, and I'm like, I like them. Is this a punishment or? I,
No, no, no,
I don't
no,
really
no,
know.
no. I know that sardines, of course, have great omega-3 profile. They're very low in mercury, or they don't have all the bad stuff,
Oh,
and
okay.
they're low in plastics. And I just learned today they're a really good source of B12.
Oh, okay. I have to eat it in mustard, or I can't eat them.
Okay, well,
But mustard is okay because that's considered no carbs. So.
yeah, you bring up a real good point there, Nana, in that for me, in my perspective, as limited or myopic as it is, everything is on a spectrum and all the spectrums are overlaid. It's
Yeah.
not like this just one two-dimensional line. Good, bad. This, and then this might be, but in conjunction with this, like I said, like I told you, if having a friend of mine, I was talking to my friend, he may have a good friend. He's my if I may need to go to his bedside soon. I'd give him a kidney, my bud, and he
Wow.
may have a diagnosis of cancer now. We're not sure. And I was telling him about, hey, he in all his blood work, it came down that he has the beginning of type 2 diabetes. All right. So I tell him, hey, this is some things you may consider doing. Da, 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 da. And I told him, he said, well, what about my morning coffee with my foo-foo stuff in it? Right. And I said, it'd be best to go without it. But if you can get rid of the bread, the potatoes, and the hash browns by having a teaspoon of foo-foo in your coffee, go for it. You know, the whole idea is
Right.
it's just a mass of moving things all the time, kind of like the great big stock market chart, right? And
Yeah.
there's so many hundreds of millions of things going on in your body at all times. Let's not get caught up in this absolutism. Unless it's ice cream, then you got to be caught up. Then you got to be strong.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I would have to say that anybody who wants to go carnivore should go keto first.
Yep.
It's an elimination diet. Eliminate one thing at a time, or two things at a time if you feel you can do that. Because if you do more than that, I had already eliminated a ton of stuff in my life already. I've never really been, like I said, I don't eat fast food. Some people live on it.
I
So,
know. That's my buddy.
right. I don't know how they do it. So if it's the person that lives on fast food, so if you're eating 3 meals of fast food, then decide you're going to eat 1 meal at home and then 2 fast food and eliminate it, and then make it 2 at home and 1 out until you're no longer doing it.
Right. And I think that in conjunction with that, it's critically important to keep some kind of journal. And maybe some of the folks over there, Christy or Dawn or Hoosier, you can comment on this about. Yeah, I think it's really important. I use my phone to chronicle everything on my calendar, and
Yeah.
I mean everything. I go into my calendar and I've got code words for everything. And I can put in my food, I can put in my visits to the porcelain, I can put in everything, because if we don't have a way to look back, kind of like a prayer journal, right?
Right.
When you have your prayer journal and then you go back after, let's say, one day of the week or one day of the one period in your month, you go back and say, this is my review period, and you go back 3 months and you go, oh, that prayer was answered, this prayer was answered, this one was delayed, but we're starting to see something on it, right? You start to recognize, but I think all too often we are so focused on the here and the now, and with inward eyeballs at that, I might add, that we fail to notice all the battles that are being fought for us spiritually. We fail to notice the wins we had. Like I just drove 400 plus miles down to the beach, 400 plus miles up, 150 miles while I was down there, all that, and not a single accident. Nobody cut me off. No bad thing. That is an amazing thing to be thankful for, right? But if you don't take the time to recognize it, you miss it. And I think that's the same thing here in changing. I like to look at, I'm trying to drop the C word, carnivore. I'm trying to drop that because it has too many triggers. And it's more than just eating. Like today, I made an observation that went like this. I'm eating 2 of the 3 major food groups, right? We got carbs, proteins, and fats. I'm eating fats and I'm eating proteins. I'm on 66% of the normal family of food. How much elimination is that?
Right.
Right? I think sometimes we let someone say, oh, you've got things so narrow and
33%.
But I'm like, I just took it down 33%.
Right.
If you bat 66%, you're in the Hall of Fame in anything you're in.
Right.
Make 66% of your free throws, make 66% of your putts. I don't care what you do, 60%. If a weatherman made 66% of his forecast correct, he's a hero.
Yeah.
That's what I did for 20 years in the Air Force. I was a weather forecaster. That's what I did.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Good. So Brett, the Who's Your Carnivore, he is not too far from there in Indiana. He
Yeah.
told you, the sardine challenge is 72 hours and nothing but sardine for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Wow.
Dawn says she likes sardine. I don't think I take them for as long as that. Yeah, and you know what? I don't know that getting that much nutrient of that family at one time is necessarily healthy. You know?
I mean, I eat a lot of eggs. I
Yeah,
ate a dozen
but you
eggs
walked into that
one
egg
day.
thing. Didn't you walk? Do you? But you walked into that egg thing. You didn't just start one day saying, "I'm having 20 eggs."
No. No, I had 4 at breakfast and then I came home for lunch and I was hungry and so I fried up 4 eggs for lunch and then I came home, went home back to work, came home from work and I was like, I'm not extremely hungry, but I know I need to put something on my stomach and I had 4 eggs. So I ended up having a whole dozen eggs the whole entire day and didn't really eat anything else. There's
Hey,
my 66%.
but again,
Salt and water.
what do you cook them in? Well, butter.
Bacon grease, most likely.
Okay. So
Yeah.
fats,
Right.
protein,
Yep.
66%.
Yep. And in some cases, I might throw a little butter on it if I
Oh yeah.
feel I need the extra, because sometimes, bathroom issues, that regulation on, oh, I think I need a little extra fat.
Right. You can't do fish with skin and bones, Laura. I get that. And Lindy's back. Okay, I know you got to do things you got to do. I would never don't ever sacrifice your well-being because you want to catch the latest verbiage going on in here. But again, I definitely want to say thank you to Carnivore Nana for taking the risk for the very first time coming on, and you're doing wonderful. I mean, you should do this more often. You're doing an amazing job and sharing, and that's awesome.
Thank you. Now I do like mackerel, and I call mackerel poor man's salmon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's real good. I literally eat it out of the can. I mean, I used to like make salmon patties, but you got to put crackers in that and da 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 da. And so it's great because it is very high in calcium as well because of those little bones, in it. I always thought that was so good. I always like to eat the bones.
Yeah, I think I think with food in general, a lot of people develop texture
Yeah.
bias on food, and then the next bias I think is olfactory bias.
Mm,
So if you have two of the three right there, then you got your taste. I mean, it's going to be hard, no? And I
yeah.
think it's just um, finding new ways. I was raised by my mom and my daddy. I was very happy, very fortunate to have both my mom and dad there my entire life. There's also challenges with that, but my mom, to get us to eat vegetables, she creamed everything, right? And when she made creamed spinach, creamed carrots, creamed other than creamed corn, like if she did creamed spinach or creamed creamed spinach or creamed whatever it was, green, she would put hard boiled eggs chopped up in it, right?
That's
Man,
a southern way of cooking, I think.
well, I tell you what, my brothers and I would stab each other for that, right? Then what she did is she just slowly backed away from it being cream. She said, I'm not going through all that anymore, right?
Mhm.
and we eat it, right? So I think sometimes to get into a food group, it's look, if you're not getting any iodine in your diet other than your iodized salt, right?
Hmm.
It's critically important for people to have iodine. You don't want to goiter. If you're using regular salt with no iodine, you're probably not getting any iodine in your diet if you don't eat any seafood. And that is no bueno. You must have iodine.
Iodine, right? I use Redmond salt
Well, even I don't know about reddening salt, but
and
the
pink salt.
I just don't know. But I'm saying it's like um, cod has a lot of iodine in it. I
Hmm.
love cod because it's a nice dense fish. I don't like foo-foo fish. It's like orange roughy or tilapia. Ugh, it's too mushy. I want some texture to
Something
it.
solid. I like catfish.
Catfish is okay, except I know what catfish eat. So I'm just meh,
Yeah. About the only fish I mean, I'll eat tuna out of the can. I eat the canned fishes. I like to kind of go fishing, but
I love fishing, but I haven't done much here lately. Hoosier said put your pork rinds up versus crackers.
yep, I eat pork rinds. That's what I've been taking, and I pretty much have had pork rinds for lunch every day. So that's my switch out. I used to be able to eat a whole sleeve of crackers. So when I gave that up, that was an amazing feat also.
Oh, I love me some crackers, and I normally leave butter out on the counter,
I
and
do too.
and so and we put it in a Tupperware dish because sometimes there's two sticks in there, and I can go through a sleeve of crackers and a full stick of butter, easy peasy. You know. Now all I do is and my wife, bless her, she is so amazing. She doesn't, like if you go into the refrigerator when you're a kid and you drink out of the jug, mama's going to wrap you in the back of your head, because how rude, right? So then you get to be an adult, you get your own place, and you stand in the refrigerator in your skivvies drinking milk from the jug going, because I can, right? I'm a
Right?
man, right? I'm a woman. I'm on my own. Then you get your family, you go, oh, can't do that. So nobody does it. And now we're empty nest. And I sit there and I'll take a butter knife, slice some slices of butter and pop them in my mouth and just eat them like cheese, right?
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed doing that. Matter of fact, about 6 months ago, I thought or no, about a year ago, I thought I was a man's man. I stood out in the middle of the parking lot of Walmart, right? And I got a fresh can of Ready Whip heavy cream whipping cream. I mean,
Okay.
the spray stuff you put like on ice cream.
Hmm.
I opened it right in the parking lot, right in the door of my truck, and I just shot it into my mouth. I drained about a third of that can. And there are men and people looking all around at me going, man, I'm jealous. I wish I could be manly like that. Well, of course, it's being an idiot, but but my wife allows me. She's good with me just taking butter off the stick. Now I get a clean knife. I don't double dip, but a lot of people just don't want to give you that latitude that fat is good for you.
Yeah. So tell me, I've heard other people say, the Kerrygold is really good, but I I don't know how I could actually just eat butter. I don't know, like, how do you actually just eat it?
Well, okay. I'll tell you how I do it. If it's fresh out of the refrigerator, right? So it's still cold,
Uh-huh.
I just make little slices while it's still cold, and I pop it in my mouth and I chew it. And I think of it like Gouda cheese, you know?
Okay.
Now, that's pretty much how I do it, Now, sometimes like when I know how you put it on your eggs or you put it on your beef and you
Mhm.
got a bowl of ground beef, right? And you put a
No, I
big
don't eat
slab
ground
on
beef.
it. What?
I don't eat ground beef.
Well, or whatever you eat, meat wise,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
You put that on there. Hey, sometimes the way you start is you leave a chunk on there, you spear it with the meat, and you feel the texture change, and you feel the cold, and you get used to it, and then eventually you'll be like all you like steak and butter gal and other people. You'll walk up to your
Yeah.
butter, and for me, it's important for me in my brain to prepare myself for what I'm doing. So, like I was eating a lot of protein about 3 years ago. and I do a lot of chicken. And so I'm doing a lot of chicken breast, right? You can only eat so many of these 15-pound Franken breasts, right? Before your mouth gets tired of chewing, right?
Mhm.
So I decided I put the chicken breast in the pan. I roasted it. It had all the drippings. I took the chicken. I cut it up into smaller pieces. I put it in the blender with the drippings. I put in another cup of water in there with it, and I blended the bejesus out of it. Right? I put it on frappe for 5 minutes, and I totally blended. I kept adding water because it's kind of thick, right? And then I heated it up again. I added some bouillon, some heavy cream, butter, salt, and pepper, right? I had chicken soup. Now, it had a little texture, right? But to me, it was hot chicken soup. And I drank a pound and a half of chicken in about a minute and a half. My jaws weren't tired, right? So for
Right.
me, mental gymnastics to say what I'm doing. So if you want to eat butter and you say, hey, I want to try to eat this butter. Slice it like I've even put butter on a slice of like Swiss cheese or a piece of provolone, and then fold it over like a sandwich and then eat it because it's the same texture, you know.
Right.
So FYI,
Yeah, that's good.
so catching up with a couple of the comments here, we've got Laura saying, "Keep waiting, kingfish and flounder. Let my husband eat the bluefish. All right, dog get the skin and dark meat. There you go." Dawn comes in with a cod fish fry. Oh, I know. We used to love. I love cod in the military. We'd get cod on Fridays for all the Catholics. The military would make sure they had a diet for everybody in the dining facility, aka the chow hall. And they would do these huge trays. I mean, the trays would be huge, industrial oven-sized trays, loaded with like 50 pounds, not on one tray, but like 50 pounds at a shot of cod steaks. And I'd go through the lines. I'd just fill my plate up, bub, and I put butter on that cod. I can eat my body weight in cod. Oh, I loved it. All right, Kerrygold is $10. I know. I tell you what, Kerrygold may be good, but I get butter at my commissary, the military commissary, and I think I get it for about $3.50 to $3.70 a pound. That's my go-to for me. A sliver of thyme cold and melts in your mouth. That's right. You can put it on your whatever meat, chicken breast. Yeah, slather the butter on. That's what I do. Hey, there you are, Lisa. If you start making video, I would love to follow the journey. Carnivore Scott and I need to grow. We have a great night. Okay, take care, Lisa.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that.
Don't look up the Pork King. I think they have ground chicken crumbs, just like the pork crumbs. All right, I guess I got to be honest. I think I am noticing in my metabolic response to foods that pork isn't giving me the best outcomes. I love like when we went down to the beach this past weekend. The lady who went with us was a chef. She is a personal chef, and she does gig chefing for different people. She'll be hired to do chefing. She's a good chef. And she brought down a couple pounds of Kaneka sausage. I don't know if you ever had Kaneka sausage, but it's a little spicy, and it's made down here in Alabama. It is very good. I've eaten sausages from around the world, and she brought so much of it. We just tonight finished the last of it, and I put it in with a hamburger soup. I just browned up my hamburger, threw in a bunch of water, put in some not soup stock, bouillon. I put some bouillon in it, and I put the sausage in it, and that was it. That was my dinner, and it was so good. But yeah, bottom line is you do what you can to find what you can to eat it, and you eat it because as long as it had a mother or had a face, I can eat it. That's the way I look at it.
Right. I don't eat ground beef for a couple of reasons. One, I do have a swallowing disorder, and
Okay.
it's hard for me to swallow those very small particles, and I
Okay.
don't like the texture. So back to the texture thing. I, I think, and this is my own personal opinion, obviously, I think ground beef is gross, but that's my own personal own personal opinion. I've tried to salt it and salt it and salt it, and I just can't tolerate it. So I basically don't even buy the ground beef anymore, even though I might get on sale. I might buy it for my son. Here, make some spaghetti or something. But
Right.
yeah, I
Well,
don't really do
and
ground beef.
we all need to know where the Rubicon is for each other, for us,
Right,
right? And
right.
if you have dysphagia, right, which swallowing problems, right? I have
Yeah.
that. I had some surgery. They took the muscles out of my neck to give room for my nerves to work.
Okay.
So when I turn my head a certain way, if I'm not careful, I will aspirate and have some dysphagia and have some significant problems just because the mechanics aren't all there.
Right.
I need to be forward. I need to be paying attention, and everything will work fine. But if I turn this way, oh sweet mother pearl, I could be in deep trouble. And hamburger is one of the easiest things for me to have an event with because, like you said,
Yeah.
the pieces of meat.
Yes.
I get it. I get it. I'm
Me
not
too.
mad at you. I'm glad you know it.
Yes. And it's so easy for me to choke, and I'm like, "Yep, we're not going. We're not. Jesus, I ain't ready to come and see you today."
I get it. I get it. So, Too Crazy Keto has read how to make chicken crumbs too. Yeah, I'm with you, Don. I am I'm not a foodie, but I do like to cook. I mean, I make my own bread. Now, I'm not very good at gravies. I'll give you that. My wife is an excellent gravies, but I'll cook the meats and I'll do the vegetables and I'll cook bread and make breads and biscuit, not biscuit, but like cornbread. I mean, I'll do all that stuff, but that's one thing I really, really like about this way of eating is that there's not a lot of thought to it, you know? It's like, you know,
Yeah.
meat, eggs, cheese,
Right. How are we gonna fix it?
right. So I really love it. I really love doing that. And I really love the opportunities it provides me. And it does free up a lot of time, but it has been quite the adjustment for um, the wife and I together as a family unit because it's difficult and so way I kind of like to couch it is make whatever you're going to make. I'll just not eat the other stuff. And my
Right.
wife, she's not a bad eater by far, but I'm on this journey. I'm on day 78, I want to say, of 79 right now, and
Nice.
down approximately 30 pounds. I don't know for sure because we stopped stepping on the scale with a challenge. Woodster 72 and I decided he wanted to do a no scale November, and we were in September talking about it. And I said, if we're not going to do it in November, then why do it now? So I'm not going to step on the scale till December. All right, what's Laura have here? I detest these phone changing. Oh, yeah, the old smartphone gets us every time. Hey, Ellen, good to see you. You are watching the Strange Normal live. The Christian Brothers cover some interesting stuff. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, I, I was watching Carrie, and so was Carnivore Nana. We were watching Carrie do a live, and and I saw that Dr. Chafee was doing his live, and there was the football stuff going on. There's some carnivores who do football, and I just say I'm going to throw this out there and let this be a place. And Nana, who's never been on before, she went ahead and said, "I'm going to go ahead and take you up on that link you put there. You don't be careful if you put a link out there. You don't know what you throw the bait out there. Someone might take it." And so
Clickbait.
on her very first inaugural effort here in the carnivore world, um, and you've been doing a fine job, and we are blessed to have you with us.
Well, thank you. I feel like a failure many, many days.
I think we all do in some respect, and particularly for those of us who are believers, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we have a very high expectation that we try to live up to, that
Yes.
the ideal, right?
Yes.
And we know that we aren't going to ever get there
Right.
while we're in the body. We know that,
Right.
but
Mm-hmm.
as mature believers, we also realize. I suspect this is all from the point of Scotty. As mature believers, we realize that doesn't give us an excuse to not continue to strive for it.
Correct.
So that's where I am with that. And so when you say you feel like you're a failure, well, I think the idea is you recognize, and hopefully as believers in our prayer life. I mean, if you don't mind me, I'm not going to get preachy, but
Mm-hmm.
prayers are heard from repentant believers.
Absolutely.
So if we subscribe to a model where we are striving to recognize our failings and our sins, particularly not just to God but to each other, then we're going to recognize all those things in our lives. We're going to recognize when we haven't kept our word. We're going to recognize that we haven't um, honored the body that God has given us. And when we do that, it's very easy, I think, to fall into a a a, a mindset of failure. And I was thinking about that today because I do it on another channel, and I use another channel specifically because I'm not trying to be promoting. I I'm working hard. My pastor has challenged us for years to do the 1 year chronological Bible,
Oh,
right?
nice.
And my wife, this is my wife, since she did it and had it on the shelf for years. Now I go to church. I'm an avid and strong believer and Bible reader, but I
Me
had
too.
this. And so I decided that this year I was going to do it every day. But know how you get in those self challenges, you can fall off the wagon. So what
Mm-hmm.
I decided to do this year is I do my daily reading and I upload it onto a channel on YouTube. And
Mm.
I'm held accountable because there are friends I have in accountability groups and other things who go and they watch it. They mainly watch for the intro prayer and the outro prayer because they're reading the same thing. They don't need my wisdom. They don't need to hear my sultry, dulcet tones reading and butchering the grammar and some of those names because this is not funny. But the idea is I use it as an accountability tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in praying and in reading things, I want to say it was in yesterday's reading where it says we're going to be held accountable, or today's reading, we're going to be held accountable for every empty word we utter, right? And
That
I
is
thought
true.
about that. Yeah, here it is right here. Isn't it amazing? You read your scriptures on a regular basis, you get to finding things. It's in Matthew 12, right? And it says here in Matthew 12, I guess I should put my glasses on. In Matthew 12, 37, no, 36, it says, but I tell you that everyone will have to give an account on the day of judgment for every empty word they have spoken. And that really struck me. That's another thing, too. Reading scripture into a video that goes online forever and ever, I guarantee you will remember more of what you read. Just something about the dynamics. And I thought about those empty words, and I'm going the long way around the mulberry bush, so be patient. Um, the empty words. So if you're always praying for being forgiven for your sins and your transgressions, right? And you do it every day, are those empty words?
I think. I think the answer on that is that there's scripture that says that we are not to be praying in repetition.
Right.
And so I think empty words are words that have less and less shock value or less and less meaning. In other words, if we do it every day, then it just becomes something habitual. So I believe that every word I speak has to have heart weight to it. In other words, I am just not saying a bunch of words because that's what I'm supposed to do. I do it because it comes from the heart. I already know that the blood of Christ continuously washes me clean. Whether I ask for forgiveness or not, I already know that it's continuous, because if I don't ask, then what happens if I don't ask and I happen to die? Do I die in my sin? Absolutely not. What I need to do is always acknowledge, Lord, I have failed in this area and I need your help, because I can't do it on my own. I know
Right.
I fail. And
Well,
there's areas that I fail in or succeed in or whatever. I I don't succeed without Christ, and I fail without him. So, yeah. So
so what
yes, I would say that if we did it every day on a regular basis, day in and day out, I think those do become empty, because then it just becomes habitual words and they
that's
have
right.
no meaning to them.
And then I thought, in conjunction with exactly that line of thinking, I thought in my prayers, I'm asking, you know, I want to know more about God. I want to seek His heart out, and
Hmm.
I thought, won't God set up in us an ability to? It says it all the time about seeing snares and pits, right? Right. So I think, hey, maybe I haven't gotten my approach right in my prayer life to say, for the Lord to help me before I use that wagging tongue. That my big problem is my mouth, right? So I say, Lord, bring the scripture. I pray when I pray for reading the scripture, I don't pray to invite God in because He's already there, like you said, right?
Right.
But God, make this word spring forward in my mind at the inception of a thought, so that I can hold that thought to the image of the cross, and maybe that thought doesn't take full forming, and I dispense with it before it becomes something that I then have to deal with before it becomes a word. Because thoughts become words, words become
Right.
habits, and habits and stuff like that. So I just thought about that. I said, I think I'm allowed to say, God, work in my mind and my heart for me to deal with that before it gets to the physical manifestation, to where then I got to worry about words. So by your words you shall be acquitted, and by your words you shall be condemned, right? And those empty words. So all of that came, and it comes back to this whole idea that when you talk about feeling like a failure, right? I think that's inherent with a lot of believers. It's going to be inherent with people who recognize I'm not in good physical condition, whatever that condition is. It could be you're not overweight, but you're weak. It could be you're underweight, right? We have the young lady who eats steak, right? Because she was anorexic. So it could be, you could come from a lot of different places, but the bottom line there is, um, we may at times be denigrating God's work in us by saying we're a failure,
Mm-hmm.
and recognizing that, say, I'm not a failure, but I've succumbed to something that now I know is a stronghold for me. And
Mm-hmm.
then we know we can pray with specificity, not because God needs it to be specific, but because we do, so we can recognize it. Sorry, we
Right.
got into a whole bunch of Bible there. There you go. Yeah, Lucia. Hello, welcome. By the way, Lucia, we're in here with our good friend Carnivore Nana, and Carnivore Nana. This is her first time being on camera, on live in a carnivore community. she just grabbed onto the link and came on. And I'm so happy because it makes this so much more enjoyable and interesting and easier to have another person to talk with directly. I'm just not great. I do okay, but I'm not great at talking to myself for 2 hours. So it's awesome. So I appreciate that. And Laura says, amen to Carnivore Nana. And we got some sounds tasty and amen. Someone reading this is going to be a little confused. All right. The Blue Letter Bible. Yep. Dawn Mertz comes in with, I think it's a continuous conversation. It is. We're told to pray without ceasing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
And Romans 12:2 says we're supposed to renew our mind. So,
There it is right there. And I think sometimes
that's called renewing your mind in his word, right? That's Romans 12:2.
So I think when I was doing this whole reading, one of the things I did this last week when I was down at the beach, I read at the beach, which I've never done before. And the wind was blowing and people were doing a wedding about 100 yards away. And at one time I ended up sitting down. I had to move away from the ocean because it was too loud. I couldn't hear myself think. And I have to wear my hearing aids to be able to enunciate. But they were amplifying the ocean and the winds. And it was pretty crazy, right? Well, I sat in an anthill. And my legs are numb, but the ant bites are going into my legs and they're all over me. And I'm finishing up. And the reason I tell this, not for any type of attaboy, but I landed on this thought construct about a month ago when I was reading in a parking garage because we were taking a dear friend of ours to the hospital. She has leukemia. And we're one of the main supporting families for her. She's in my small group. And I said, I have to do my reading. So I'm down in the car doing my reading, and I'm in a big parking garage and people going by. Security guard even comes in and looks. I didn't realize it. Someone told me later. But I thought to myself, if I'm sitting in my room and it's all comfortable and I'm reading scripture, that's great. But what's going to happen when I come up across a challenge, right? And I thought to myself, what a wonderful world. No, I thought to myself that I really need to try to read my scriptures in this environment and in recording in an environment that challenges me, because there'll be a day when I won't be at rest. And I want to be able to bring up instantaneously on the moment of my need the right scripture, right? So I'm thinking to myself, I probably need to do more readings in environments that are challenging, or at least different than what I'm in, so that my focus is really honed in. It's a thought. I'm gonna catch up with a couple of these. Laura says, the word meditate in Hebrew is to mutter. When you mutter, his word takes root in you and brings forth fruit. And just as we read today, you can be made a good tree and bear good fruit, or you can be made a bad tree to bear bad fruit. I want to be made into a good tree. I want there to be good fruit. And I believe we have to conscientiously want that.
Psalm 1. Be planted by the streams of living water.
John says, we also know we are always going to be accused by Satan and his cronies. Yep. And distract us from succeeding. If we focus on failure, we can't be looking and moving forward and focusing on the cross. That's right. Absolutely, Dawn. Ellen, good. The Mayo, okay. Reminds me of something. Oh, yeah. Okay. I saw your comment, Ellen, about putting the roast into the blender. I wanted to do that one time with a roast, just like I did with the chicken, and just make a beef soup. I'm all about it. Bacon fat butter. I have not tried bacon fat butter. I put bacon fat on everything with butter. Does that count the same? Fire ants bite me. I know. I don't think I was in fire ants. He was just little beach ants and were fire ants. But I will tell you, I was sitting on the beach on a blanket, too close to vegetation, And these little ants, they crawled everywhere. And when I say they crawled everywhere, I mean they crawled everywhere. I was getting bit in places I did not want to be bit. And I was like, I couldn't move. And I pulled it off, but I got into ocean water pretty quick too. When that was done, it was time to hit the ocean.
Hey, can I ask a question?
By all means.
So I think it was whoever mentioned the mayonnaise or the butter, the bacon butter fat or whatever.
Here you go.
Can somebody like post that? Like, is it a recipe?
Um,
Butter and
Bacon
egg.
fat. I want to say Dr. Barry has a video on bacon butter.
Okay, I'd never heard of it, so I didn't know what it was.
Maybe someone else has it. Maybe.
Or if somebody knows where I can get that. It's
Yeah, don't
bacon
get too
butter
comfortable,
mayo.
right? Hello, Maribel. Good to see you. Hello, hello, hello. I'm in here with Carnivore Nana tonight. Bacon fat mayo. Yeah, that's what, if anybody has a link to a recipe. Oh yeah, let's do that.
Mm,
Oh, fire ants. Yeah, I think fire ants are
bacon
pretty
fat
close to
mayo.
everywhere south of Tennessee. But yeah, there's a number of things I'd like to try. Let's see. So they say it's just whipped up bacon fat. Okay. So I guess if you just took the bacon fat and poured it into a bowl slowly and you had your swizzle stick going fast or beater, you could incorporate air in it and just keep doing it. As it cools up, it'd be like, well, you could do that with tallow. I do it with tallow to make whipped tallow.
Hmm. And then you eat it?
Well, you spread it on whatever you want.
What am I spreading it on? I don't eat bread.
Well, you could spread it on cheese crisps. You could spread it. You could,
That's
I
new.
don't know, maybe be a good way to cut it into slices when it's cold. And if you want to try to eat it like a butter, or maybe you could add
That's
it
okay.
onto cheese. So I'm just trying to, I'm making this up as I go along. Work with me here, okay?
Right, right. And you eat veggies. So
Not
yeah.
now.
Oh, you don't do it now?
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay. So are you total carnivore?
I am 99.99% carnivore, except when, like this weekend, because we were celebrating a birthday and it's a special time. I went ahead and I had, what did I have? I had a poblano pepper as a chili relleno. So a chili relleno. So I had cheese, and a poblano, and an egg wash on the outside. So I don't care about the egg wash really. The poblano pepper is a bunch of fiber, and the cheese I don't care about. So yeah, I had some carbs there, and then I had a slice of cheesecake, itty bitty piece of cheesecake. I ate it, and you know what? I didn't end up running around going eating everything in sight. It was a one-off, and I'm going. I'm back on it, and then today, oh, she said put it on steak. Yeah, you put that bacon fat butter on
Oh,
steak.
okay.
But I went right back today. I had to go, like I said, for the glamour shots on my liver, and so I did. I ended up. They tell you to be fasted before you go in for that ultrasound,
Mm-hmm.
and not to drink any water, because if you drink water within an hour, it will cause your liver to be stiffer because it's full of fluid as it's doing that. So I didn't. So I ended up doing a 42-hour water fast, and it worked out pretty easy. It didn't bother me to do it.
Hmm.
Lots of bacon. I just can't keep enough bacon in the house to get enough bacon fat.
Oh, my freezer is probably half beef and half bacon
Wow.
and a little bit of chicken. Yeah,
Butter mayo. So do you see that? It's Chris Cooking Nashville has butter bacon stuff.
great.
Add to hard boiled eggs. Yes. That's what I saw it in.
It's the mayonnaise, yeah. To make egg salad, right?
Or to make just to make deviled eggs.
Oh, yeah, because you can use mustard, right?
Yeah. Because I know I've made my own mayo before, which is basically a couple egg yolks, some something like a little bit of squeeze of lemon juice, and then you pour in your oil, right? And you whip the eggs up and you pour the oil in slowly and incorporate it slowly. And that's how you make mayo. Restaurants make it every day by the tubs. Just
Yeah.
your number of yolks. I think 2 yolks for a cup of oil could be two. Yeah, 2 yolks for a cup of oil, and then and I think you could put cream of tartar in there, I guess, to help it. But you whip that up slowly. And you make your own butter. You have to have that acidic stuff of I want to say some lemon squeezed in there. Don't hold me to that, but pretty close. You make your mayo up. Well, and it's so much better because you're not making it with soybean oil and all that stuff, right? It will
Mm-hmm.
separate on you if you do it too quick. You don't have things right. It will separate on you. But I could see just whipping that up real quick like that, and then using the bacon grease in with the egg yolks, right? And then using that to make up your filling piping the filling into the hard boiled eggs. And the way you eat eggs, come on.
Yeah, I need a new way to eat eggs. That's for sure. Oh yes.
Egg salad, there we go. Then we have Laura's use mayo and chicken salad, burgers, steaks. Yep, egg salad. There we go.
And I don't eat peppers because I'm allergic to the pepper family.
Well, good.
And
Don't eat peppers.
yeah, and a few other things that are veggies that's not necessarily related. So even like Italian seasoning, I've become allergic to garlic. And these are plants. So people say, "Oh, how do you deal with not eating peppers?" I'm like, I don't like them anyway. So
Now, see,
I
I love peppers. I grew up in El Paso, Texas,
oh, okay.
and I'm a southern border guy, and I grew up jalapenos or mother's milk, I don't go up in this silly ghost pepper or none of that stuff. I don't do that, but I just love peppers, But I don't think they love me back the same way, particularly in my condition. Now, when my condition gets better, oh, me and some Hatch green chilies are going to have a moment. But I say that now. When I get there, I may have no interest.
Right.
I don't know. Apple cider vinegar works. There you go. I know you needed something. And until we meet again, hello. Good to see you back again. Good to see you. Ah, that's right. Lucia knows that El Paso Chinese
Not-
food is hot peppers. Almost all Chinese, particularly northern Chinese. I want to say northern Chinese or southern has a lot of peppers in it. Some very, very spicy peppers.
Mm.
You hate peppers there, Ellen? Mom cooked them. Oh, okay. You mean like bell peppers? That bell peppers, Ellen? Or because I know a lot of people don't like bell peppers, and I love bell peppers. My mom would stuff bell peppers with hamburger and rice and all that.
Yeah.
I could eat my body weight in them. Yeah, you have to find many Hatch green chilies there unless they come out of like an old El Paso can, and that means they're worth nothing. But all peppers are nasty. Well, I get it, and in this lifestyle, why would you eat them, right? But I grew up eating a lot of them. My father, his dad was from Wales, so very bland food, but his mother was from Slovakia. And there, you're basically a gypsy almost, and you're one step away from being a gypsy. And yeah, they cook with a lot of peppers. And my dad hated with a passion any onion. And then he got stationed in El Paso with the Army. And he fell in love with my mom, and he fell in love with the cuisine. And at one point in time, he was taking onions and eating them like apples. You know what I mean? So I guess his palate changed. Love does that to a guy. I miss green chilies. Yeah. Like I said, when I get healthy, me and some green chilies going to have a moment. There's nothing. I don't know if you've ever had the chance, Nana, but you may not get an Iowa. You may if you go around the Mexican markets, right? If you go into Des Moines or if you go into Omaha, into Little Mexico, you'll on Saturday mornings or Sunday mornings if you're going by the right markets where they've got some different food vendors going on, but they'll roast those chilies and I can identify a roasted green chili, Hatch green chili, from 3 miles away. I It's like burning leaves, you know. I just know that smell, and absolutely. I used to roast them on the flames at home on gas stove, and I just roast them that way. Oh yeah, oh yeah,
They have a distinctive smell, huh?
uh-huh.
Like a dead body.
Unfortunately, I know what that is too. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah. Go to New Mexico. Yep, yep. I'll have to go back again one day. I'll have to go back again. I had two of my children were born there. So, Maribel, serving her husband protein only today. Why I haven't given any side of veggies? He
I
hates
love it.
veggies. So you tell him because I love you, and I recognize that I just don't want to fight with you anymore. And you were so right. Let him think he won the battle. The easiest way to deal with guys, right? Deviled eggs, mustard. Yeah, I like them with mustard. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. Everybody's laughing, Maribel. Yeah, didn't even know. Never had a clue. That's what. Did you all watch that movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we watched the movie, and I just had to laugh. There's so many great lines in there, but like one line is, um, the Greek girl is meeting the non-Greek boy, falls in love, right? And uh, he goes to meet the great big Greek family and all this, and one of the aunts comes up, and they own a restaurant, and one of the aunts comes up and is absolutely um, infatuated with this young man, his long hair and everything, and she's like, "Oh, you're gonna come over? We're gonna make a big dinner. I'm gonna make this," and he says, "I don't eat meat," and she because he's a vegetarian, right? And she goes, "What do you mean you don't eat meat? You know, this is a Greek family. What do you mean you don't eat meat?" And he was like, and then she goes, she looks at his hair and grabs it. And goes, "That's okay. I make lamb." Anyway, there's all these one-liners in that movie, and I just have to laugh at it because in it, her mother is, and she has a domineering father, very, very, very machismo, right? And and the father's like, "Do I know this boy? No." He's very against this relationship. Why don't you settle down and marry a good Greek boy? All that stuff, right? And the daughter is just destroyed. She's an older daughter, by the way, and she's just destroyed. And she's in a room. She's boohooing. And mom comes in and says, "That's okay. It'll be okay. I'll take care." But daddy, but Papa says, "Papa, Papa, Papa, Papa." And she goes, "Look, it is true. The man is the head of the family, but the woman is the neck and can turn that head any way she wants to." And I'm thinking about Maribel saying, "Yeah, yeah, no, no, just eat the meat. It's good. You were right. Just let them think that." Yeah, Sichuan food, Hunan, very hot, hot, hot. Susan says, "I haven't seen the third movie, and me neither, but I am going to see the third movie." No meat. I make lamb. I love that line. Maribel, he doesn't know anything about keto, local, and he doesn't need to. If you are the primary vendor for feeding your husband, he's just giving you license to do what you want to do. Do it. Don't worry about it. And he won't even have to say thank you later. So you saved the whole conversation. Yeah, that movie is hilarious, isn't it, Dawn? Uh, you love that movie. I know. I love that. I know the second one didn't work for me. I only watched bits of it, but that first one was just hilarious. And telling me how I love that movie. Never looked away. Yeah. So what she's saying here, there, Nana, is in that movie, The Greek Father, right? You've seen him in plenty of other movies, but every time somebody does something like they have a bug bite, a sunburn, a burn, he sprays it with Windex because Windex fixes everything. I mean, now this is a stereotypical movie. You couldn't do this in some segments of society, but picking on Greeks is fine, right? But yeah, it was funny. Yeah, it was absolutely funny. All right, so hey, we're getting to the part of this stream Yeah, we're coming up on 2 hours here in about another 5.5 minutes. So what I'd like to do, I want to give everybody an opportunity to round robin. If there's anything someone wanted to bring up, and obviously for yourself there, Nana, if you've got something you want to bring up, this is where you get it's a pimple or a wart. Yeah, this is where you get an opportunity to leave us some parting thoughts and comments and just some things in your mind.
It's been a great conversation. I've learned some things, knowing that I'm not the only one struggling, even though I know in reality that that's true. Sometimes when on this journey you feel alone, especially if your family, um, you
If
know,
they're not simpatico with you,
yeah. I
very much.
mean, I can't hardly even talk about carnivore because people think I don't want to hear it. I don't, it's the negativity. It's yeah, and the thing that I want to say, a couple things that I like to say is, yeah, you don't want to hear about carnivore like you don't want to hear about Jesus.
I don't have that problem in my house, that's for sure.
Well, I'm saying in for
Globally.
someone for someone who's not a believer. I'm just saying people who are not believers in Christ react the same way like people who are not believers in carnivore. Because here's the thing, they have to give something up. They
Yeah.
have to give up something up that they like in order to accomplish the success, whether it be the salvation or whether it be in this life of this food addiction issue. And I don't want to give up ice cream. I know I'm going to have to, and I don't have to do that eventually. And it's a matter of me just saying no. As easy as that sounds, sometimes it's like hanging on to the shower curtain and going, God, I need your help today.
Amen. Well, I think you have hit on some very important points there, and a lot of them that could be dedicated to hours of conversation by numerous people, and that is that sometimes, like when people get into new things, they have a burning passion, and they kind of wear out that passion on the people around them. So maybe
Mm,
that's a hit on us, right? And
yeah,
we have to find new words and new ways of saying or not saying that word, the C word at all, right? So we sit there and say, I'm going to pass on that now, or well, you know what I'm doing, and whatever. The other thing though that goes in hand with that is when you talk about people being reluctant, well, yes, you have to admit that you're wrong. I mean, if you're going to accept something out of whatever it is, you're admitting whether it's your salvation or it's a way of eating, you're admitting that maybe something you've been sticking to is wrong.
hmm
But the other thing I found throughout my life is we are often so comfortable with our stronghold, our
yes,
position, that it's uncomfortable when we unload it. We're not used to our freedom, right? And
hmm
then instead of bringing things to the foot of the cross and leaving them there, we pick it back up and we walk away with it.
right,
And it's because it's a new feeling. I think that's what's incumbent upon the people that come alongside of people in whatever community you're in, whether it's your faith community or here in this community, the people come alongside and say, "No, you're okay. You're doing the right thing. Trust the process. Here's some new words to use or new ways to look at it. Hold on." Somebody has experienced in the 3 million viewers that Dr. Berry has, and the millions of others that aren't in that group. Somebody somewhere has experienced what you're going through.
oh
They,
yes,
and so that's a beautiful thing here. But you have to admit, just like when you have an addiction, the first step is admitting the addiction.
yep,
The next thing is getting a higher power to be alongside of you. Then it's
hmm
getting people close to you who will walk with you, right? And And that's how we do that. And in this community, and I'm going to say in this channel format, now not everybody who comes in here is a believer, but
Right.
anybody who comes in here knows that we are believers. And I've never had a disrespectful moment. You know, we've had a couple of different people come in, didn't agree with us, but they weren't haters that by any means, and they didn't get any hate from us. So that's a good thing. That's what we were talking about a month ago. The topic running around in the carnivore community was, hey, let's not become so dogmatic like the people who only eat vegetables, right?
Right.
So this is a very loving community, and it's a very trusting community. And I'm hopeful that in this channel that's what we promote for each one of us, because um, we have to have somewhere we can go where we're around like-minded people
Mm-hmm.
who are going through similar struggles. And I think that that's what the purpose of this whole late night at Scotty's after party gathering, whatever we want to call it, loosey goosey ad hoc Monday through Thursday. It gives a place like for you, Nana, to come in and be able to grab onto the screen. Limitless Lindy did that one evening. It was her first time being on a live one, you know. So that's what this is all about. It's about us having the opportunity to grow together in everything we're doing. So I really appreciate you.
I thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much. I was glad I was able to even catch it over there on Carriers. I was like, okay, let's check this out. Thank you
Well,
so
I
much. I
appreciate it.
really appreciate it.
So Nana, somebody has asked here, Laura has asked, do you mind giving us your first name?
Oh, my name is Janet.
There
I
you
used
go.
to be Janet Adamity, but I decided to change my name because I
Okay.
thought, okay, I'm going to work on maybe trying to do a channel, and I didn't want my real name showing per
Sure,
se.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Janet. Great community. You're right, Susan. Well, we do get some chats going on here, that's for sure. Last night I got a little bit of a rant, but we chat. We are blessed to find each other, and again, all where two or more are gathered in my name, right? So there
Yeah.
we go. That is so true. I've used that analogy well. People don't want to see the reality of the world. Yep, yep. The enemy is not hiding, and we have too many people who don't want to admit to that. Be blessed, shalom. There you go. That's great. Thank you so much. And well, I I just provided the forum, the bringing together was God, and I'm just glad that people are willing to listen and give a like Nana to give a it's a leap of faith to come on and see a guy blah 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 and go I'll go on, you know, and that's a blessing. So with all that, that's so awesome. And for those who've got in, Maribel who got in a little bit, and until we meet again, I think the idea is I try to come on about 8:30 to 9 o'clock Central Time, and I give 2 hours. So we're on 2 hours right now. I try to give 2 hours, and it's very very loose ad hoc. This is not like mandatory. Got to be here thing. Window. I'm kind of loosey goosey. We all have lives to lead. My wife has gone off to bed, and this normally would happen because I was a horrible snorer, and I put off a lot of heat, and my wife is easily disturbed. Um, she goes to bed first, and I will go to bed so I don't bother because I'll fall asleep in about 30 seconds. So if she hasn't nestled in and got comfortable, she'll be up another 2 hours because of all my noise and everything. So now I don't snore anymore because I've lost about 30 pounds,
Hmm.
but and the inflammation and whatever it is, I don't snore nearly as much. But we got into that habit, and then I decided this is one time slot where I could come in and I wasn't stepping on too many people. Dr. Chafee, but come on, that guy's running 790 people in a channel. I'm sure he's not worried about what's happening over in this little tiny corner of the universe of YouTube. But that is awesome, and I thank you all. And you know, until we meet again, is right. You are a brave carnivore, Nana, and thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. And
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
you'll see us around. Well, now that we'll be able to go in there and we'll be able to say, and people go, "Who's Janet? Who's Janet?" And it's going to take a minute for people to pick it up. But what's amazing is the people here outside of this dome, right here, put a big black circle. Everybody else remembers names. I am horrific about it. So yeah, and so Laura, you read my bio. Yeah, I had a baby face as a senator. Yeah, I can grow hair here. I just can't grow it on my head. But
Oh, you were
yeah,
a senator?
yeah, I was. Every,
Nice.
everybody has to have a past, right? That's my skeleton.
I used to drive an 18 wheeler.
Sweet. I wish I wish I had that skill, but I don't.
We all got skills in some. I was a pilot car driver too, so I did a lot of transportation. So
Okay, all right, cool. That's so cool. I do. Sometimes I pick up cars for somebody who needs an extra driver, but that's a great thing about this community. You just have no idea. We have gospel singers, and we have all sorts of talents in here, and that's just absolutely amazing. And with that, I will bid everybody adieu. God bless. Take care, and we will see you around the carnivore verse somewhere. Okay.
thank you. Appreciate it. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Scott.
Okay. Bye bye.
Goodbye.